I'm Elizabeth, the Wedding and Events Coordinator here at Jackstar Weddings. Today I'm going to be speaking through 5 wedding entertainment ideas to arrange for before your evening DJ begins. So during your wedding day, it's very common that the drinks reception and the wedding breakfast can kind of create the feel that there's a lot of waiting around time. And this is just the case in most weddings, as it's got the least entertainment arranged for it really. There's, of course, the drinks reception itself can be waiting around for the guests, because most drinks receptions are about an hour and a half to 2 hours while you get photos and things taken. So that's quite a lot of time for guests just to not really have that much going on. And the wedding breakfast, of course, you are having your meal. It's just that it's, again, normally about a couple of hours, and there's, if you've not got anything going on, it can just be a little bit it just be a bit quiet really. So guests know this as well, so it can quite often be the times of a wedding that most guests don't look forward to they look forward to it the least anyway, and there's no real reason for that. Yes, I've said that those timings are for those specific things like your meal and the photos, so yes, you do have to have those times of the day, but why not make it a little bit more interesting? If you have the budget, there are things you can do to make that a little bit more entertaining. So I'm going to go through that now, so hopefully give you a bit of inspiration. So the first one is hiring a magician. So magicians are a great way to add something a bit special and fun to the day. There's different magicians out there, they kind of cater for different things, but I definitely recommend going for a wedding professional magician, just because their experience will be special to weddings and specific to weddings. So they will know exactly how to work with the range of guests, from all the different ages. They'll also just have the knowledge to kind of know what guests are kind of looking for, what kind of stage they're at in your day, and also to be able to sort of spark a bit of conversation, just to be able to really interact with your guests. For the kids, for example, of course, depending on what kind of package and stuff you go for, they might even be able to create balloon animals, which will then be something for the kids to actually play with all day, not just during the drinks reception or whenever. And also, you can speak to them about what you kind of want. Some people might want a magician that's just going to entertain the children for a while, or you want someone who is going to mingle between all of the guests. And a lot of wedding professionals are able to do that. So even down to the grandparents, they'll even be getting involved. So like with magicians, they work great for the drinks reception, that couple of hours, because there's kind of a lot of mingling of people, so everyone's just kind of sat around maybe like a bar area or something, so the magician can kind of work their way around them. And then also it can work great for sort of after the wedding breakfast, just before the evening's kind of properly starting. There's that kind of turnaround time, maybe when your venue is being turned around ready for the evening and your evening supplies are setting up like your DJ, that magician might just be there just to create a bit of excitement instead of people just sort of sat around waiting really. So the second one is a wedding host. So that is something that we do provide here at Jackstar Weddings, so just feel free to let me know if you'd like any more information on that. So a host is somebody who's going to kind of look after and host your day, commonly sort of start from the start of the wedding breakfast. There are different packages, but just to sort of give you sort of generic idea. So what they would do is, so like I said, they start from the wedding breakfast, and they would provide background music for that. So there'd basically be no awkward silences. So often your guests may be sat on a table with somebody where they don't actually know everybody, and it can be maybe sometimes a bit awkward, so people feel like they need to chat to kind of fill the awkward silences, but the background music would just kind of fill in the gaps and just kind of create a really good atmosphere. So for instance, like you would be able to give the host a bit of an idea of what kind of music that you and your guests like. So it would just work really well for that. They would also then provide things like pearls of wisdom cards, which is like advice to the bride and groom. So they would ask your guests to fill them in, and then they would read out the best ones. Again, just sort of create a bit of a laugh. Again, just sort of interacting with the guests, just something to do and something going on where, again, it kind of have a bit of a heartwarming feeling, because some of them should be nice, bits of advice, but yeah, then there'll be some funny ones, so everyone can have a bit of a laugh. So it'll just be like a nice, light-hearted atmosphere. And then sort of after the wedding breakfast, at the start of the evening, just to sort of kind of gather all your guests together and sort of start the party, get the party started, kind of get all your guests kind of interacting with each other. They'll arrange a Mr. and Mrs. game. So again, it's just a bit of fun. So the hosts, like I said, so they'll kind of cover the wedding breakfast and the start of the evening reception, so just before the DJ begins, really. So I definitely recommend that. And like I said, just let me know if you need any more information. So number 3 is acoustic singers. So live singers are a great way to add entertainment to the drinks reception. Really popular idea, like really, they're very popular. Again, wedding professional acoustic singers, they know what they're doing, and they'll also kind of probably, their track list will probably be something that you're interested in. It'll be quite wedding based probably. So it'd be a great time for the drinks reception while your guests are kind of mingling, having a drink, maybe have some canapes. They'll be able to play that kind of background music. So again, there'll be no sort of awkward silences, which is what you don't want. And depending on the venue, if you've got a nice garden space and the weather's looking nice, maybe they could be outside. But of course, if the weather's not looking great, inside. But yeah, so that one's just a really lovely way to add the atmosphere. And of course, most wedding professionals allow you to kind of give them an idea of what kind of songs you like beforehand. So that would be something that should be quite personal as well. So number 4 is games. So it sounds quite simple, and it is, but it's really effective. So it's something that you might not think about because it just seems so simple that why would think about it, but it can be so effective and have a real good effect. And you'll be surprised if people remember. They will remember that you've put the games on or you've made the games. So it's becoming very, very common for people to do DIY games for the drinks reception. So for example, things like a tin tower when you knock down with like a bean bag, or like giant noughts and crosses. So you can make these yourself, and it's common to do those kind of games if you've got an outdoor space. So on the other hand is if the weather's not looking great and you have got to go indoors and you haven't got a lot of space inside, you can simply just provide like already boxed games on the tables that are around the area where the drinks reception will be. So even things like card games or like Uno, anything like that. I've even actually seen somebody provide a Scalextrics before at a wedding, and it was very popular, and it definitely kept people entertained for those 2 hours of the drinks reception. So anything like that, it just gets guests to mingle with each other, kind of will be very light-hearted, and like I said, if there's guests that don't really know each other, it gives them an excuse to kind of speak to each other and have a bit of a laugh, and then it will also kind of break the ice maybe for the rest of the day. So recommend that one, and it can be budget friendly, because you could either make the games yourself, even if you can't make them yourself. You may already have some games anyway at home, so you can just use them. If not, you could even maybe check out some like charity shops. They might have some games. So there's ways around that one to make it as budget friendly as possible, really. So the last one is singing waiters. So this is something that's becoming more and more popular. So basically, the singing waiters would be there during the whole wedding breakfast, but they would imitate a waiter or waitress. So you wouldn't know who they were. Well, your guests wouldn't know who they were. They would just kind of pretend to be a waiter and serve things and things, so people kind of get used to their faces. And then, sort of at the end of the wedding breakfast, they'd make a scene, and then they would break out into song and put on a big performance. Normally they like to get the guests involved, having a bit of a sing and a dance. So it's just like a perfect way to kind of round off the wedding breakfast and then really get everyone excited and in a party atmosphere. So then the start of the evening reception, everyone's in a really kind of, they're on a bit of a hype, and they're all ready to party then. So there's kind of no lull in between. Everyone's already, they've kind of had that chilling time of the wedding breakfast, and then it just kind of makes everybody ready for the party. So that's a really good way to do that. Singing waiters, budget wise, they might be a little bit on the higher end, but obviously it completely depends where you are, like what your local suppliers are like, and what kind of package you go for. But yeah, something that I definitely recommend, and it does work really well. So yeah, hopefully I've given you some tips there and some ideas. Like I said, there's different ones there with different budgets, so it just kind of depends where you are. Of course, it's one of them things really, the more entertainment the better at weddings. So guests go away remembering these things, and it does mean a lot to them when it's obvious that you thought about them, you want them to be entertained throughout the day. Because, you know, weddings can be a long day, depending on what time you get married, the actual ceremony itself. So it's definitely important to think about the different entertainments that you can put on. And like I said, you don't have to always spend a fortune on entertainment. There are some simple ways you can do that as well. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. Just like I said, just let me know if you want any more information about how here at Jaxler, how we can help with anything. But yeah, good luck planning all the entertainment.